Welcome to Stars X. When we talk about legends in the world of metal, one name reigns supreme: Iron Maiden. From their raw beginnings in the streets of East London to becoming one of the most influential bands in heavy metal history, this is the story of how Iron Maiden conquered the world of rock, shaped the genre, and built a legacy that continues to resonate today. The year was 1975. East London was alive with the hum of new music, and a young musician named Steve Harris had a vision. A vision of creating a band that would define the sound of heavy metal. After experimenting with several lineups and honing his craft, Harris formed Iron Maiden. The band's name, inspired by the medieval torture device, symbolized the power and intensity of the music they were about to create. Steve Harris, the heart and soul of Iron Maiden, became the band's bassist and primary songwriter. His fast, melodic bass lines, intricate rhythms, and distinctive playing style would become the foundation of the band's sound. Joining Harris were guitarist Dave Murray, whose lightning-fast solos and melodies became an integral part of Maiden's signature sound, and guitarist Adrian Smith, who brought his own distinct flair with his dual guitar harmonies. Alongside them was drummer Clive Burr, whose precise, powerful drumming provided the band with the driving force it needed to push the boundaries of heavy metal. The early days were tough, but through relentless touring and an unwavering commitment to their craft, Iron Maiden began to carve out their place in the burgeoning heavy metal scene. By 1980, they released their self-titled debut album, Iron Maiden, which began to turn heads. But it was their follow-up, Killers, and most notably, The Number of the Beast, that would change the game for the band. The Number of the Beast was an album that not only defined their sound, but defined the genre.
But then, I think a lot to do with it is because I think really they like to be up there as well, you know. I think they like to imagine themselves being up on the stage, playing. I think that's probably what it is. I mean, I must admit, you know, when I used to go and see bands before, I always thought, oh, you know, I'd love to be up there playing and you know that. Now it's a bit weird looking at it from the other side of the fence, if you know what I mean, like you're up there playing.
New bands that have come up, they've certainly been influenced by the new wave and the punk explosion. I mean, they play a lot faster now than Black Sabbath did in 1971. They're much faster, they're much more speedy. And I think also they took a degree of attention from punk in that they recorded a lot of their independent singles. They didn't rely on the record companies to pick them up and build their career. They just went out, played concerts and formed their own labels and stuck their own singles out.
Songs like Run to the Hills and the title track became instant classics and are still regarded as some of the greatest in heavy metal history. The band's sound was bigger than ever, faster, louder, more intricate. Their lyrics, often inspired by history, mythology, and literature, set them apart from other bands. Their ability to blend storytelling with shredding guitar solos and powerful vocals was unmatched. Despite their success, Iron Maiden wasn't without controversy. The band was frequently criticized by conservative groups, particularly for the supposed satanic themes in their music, most notably the track The Number of the Beast.
There's all this stuff with Iron Maiden being devil worshippers. And it was the strangest thing, because we had people out there with placards. It wasn't just us, but I think we really took a lot of the brunt of it, and a lot of it started or restarted again around the Number of the Beast album. And it would be on local TV stations and the religious stations actually advertising out saying, see this album, burn it. And there was one situation where they got a whole load of Iron Maiden, Ozzy Osbourne albums, burnt them, and then everyone ran away apparently because they were scared of the fumes. So the next time around they used a hammer to break them.
The whole thing got done in a mishmash. Well, what happened was that the music scene in the 10 years since that time has been, well, I think messed up, largely by the media, because what's happened is that they've taken the really visible elements of it and used it to market things. So any band that sounded a bit like Black Sabbath got, we're kind of like, so they got marketed like Black Sabbath, so they had to deal with all the crucifixes and everything else. And then suddenly they decided that anything that had a Marshall stack in front of it was now heavy metal. So in order to be heavy metal, a whole bunch of, things came up. And they just took it, and in some bands it's almost a parody.
That devil thing, you know, and all the number of the beast bit. I mean, basically it was one song that was about that. I mean, they're not into devil worshipping and all that, but they were just making a comment on the song.
However, Steve Harris and frontman Bruce Dickinson, known for their wit and intelligence, defended the band's creative expression, making it clear that the lyrics were not an endorsement of Satanism, but a storytelling tool. Bruce Dickinson's charisma and eloquence in interviews helped solidify the band's image, not just as metalheads, but as thinkers and storytellers. His high-pitched operatic vocals combined with his theatrical stage presence made him one of the most iconic frontmen in the history of rock. Through the 80s, Iron Maiden kept evolving. With albums like Peace of Mind, Somewhere in Time, and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, the band ventured into more ambitious musical territory, synthesizers, deeper storytelling, and more complex arrangements. The band solidified their reputation as innovators, always pushing the limits of what heavy metal could be. The band's mascot, Eddie, became a symbol for the group, appearing on nearly every album cover and live show, adding a visual element that fans couldn't get enough of. Their live performances grew larger and more theatrical, and with each new album, they set a new benchmark for what metal could achieve. As the years passed, Iron Maiden faced its own personal struggles. Bruce Dickinson temporarily left the band in the early 90s, replaced by Blaze Bayley. The transition was difficult and the band's sound took a slight turn. However, the return of Dickinson in 1999 marked the beginning of the next chapter, and with his return came the band's revitalization. Despite lineup changes and personal challenges, the core of Iron Maiden remained intact.
And certainly the songs, you know, I haven't played for 8 or 9 years, feel really fresh, you know. But live, it's working out great. It's been a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be interesting on the record. I think it's going to give the music an interesting dimension. The reaction in you know, Paris, we had 16,000 people, and it was, you know, like I said, we play something from every record.
The main reason why we are back together is to make Iron Maiden next year the biggest metal band in the world.
The band's resilience to setbacks only made them stronger, and they emerged from each phase of their career with even more determination and success. With the release of Brave New World in 2000, Iron Maiden not only returned to their classic sound, but they also managed to capture a new generation of fans. They were more popular than ever, their influence now spanning across multiple generations. Albums like Dance of Death and A Matter of Life and Death solidified their place as not just pioneers, but as the undisputed kings of heavy metal. Iron Maiden's live shows were now legendary, known for their massive stage setups, pyrotechnics, and the presence of Eddie towering over the crowd. Their fans, devoted, passionate, and countless in number, ranged from teenagers to middle-aged rockers, united in their love for the band's music. In the modern day, Iron Maiden is still going strong. Despite their age, the band shows no signs of slowing down. In fact, they continue to play sold-out stadiums around the world, proving that their legacy is not just a passing phase, but a timeless one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.